Derek, it's episode 15. We should have big old smiles on our face. Motocross is back on the East Coast. They were at the High Point. Someone will call it the High Point Country Club. Dade City was popping this weekend. We got a winner, and we got a big old trophy. And we have an apology because I can't read a calendar. But we're going to cover pros. We're going to cover Dade City, and we're going to cover what I was supposed to cover last weekend is actually this weekend. And also, it was Father's Day, so happy Father's Day.
Thank you. You too.
Thank you. And we're going to cover some motocross. We're going to cover what's going on. And we're sitting here. It's a beautiful Monday. I guess it's Juneteenth. It was a federal holiday. Banks were closed, and we are sitting out here at the pool studio again. We're going to cover a little bit of the HBI team that has a new rider. I'm not really sure the dynamic of what that is.
I think he was just pitting with them.
Just pitting?
It might turn into something. I'm not sure. I haven't talked to Matt on it, but we will.
But cool. I mean, hey, we got the colors. We're the local team. It's like, it's anything like we got Mario Goslin DGM out of running NASCAR. We've got HBI running out of Lake Wales. So anything that we can cover that is cool to our environment, I think, hey, we're going to give it some props. So, welcome. Where do we want to start? Do we want to start with your success this weekend, or I guess actually BOWYNN's success this weekend, or do we want to start with it's East Coast ruddy motocross?
We can talk about motocross. We got lots to talk about at Dade City. It was a fun weekend, so we'll tear into that after motocross.
Well, start us off. What do we got? I think they had a lot of rain Thursday. They had a lot of rain Friday. They had so much rain they even canceled media day. But the track looked like a slot car track on Saturday morning.
Yeah, High Point's my home track from where I'm originally from. Got sun poisoning there one year. It's the rain. It's typical for High Point. It's Pennsylvania. It's either... I was surprised to see the sun, to be honest with you, because it's how it always is up there. But it was a mess. Yeah.
I think what Michelle and I were watching when we were watching the race was there's so many tracks you watch and they kind of like rail corners or they really accelerate through corners. I don't think there's a corner on that track that's like a flat or banked corner the right way. They're off camber. They're flat. There's nothing geometric on that track for a rider to use as speed. They have to create their speed off the feeling they get coming out of a corner.
That's what I grew up on. So that's typical PA track right there. I mean, northern track. It's all hillsides. It's, through the woods, out of the woods. It's pretty typical. They're rough. It's just, it's good dirt, but when it gets wet, it's slippy. So
yeah.
It's just, I want to say most of it's like natural. So, they build the tracks,
yeah.
but they break down naturally. And it makes them tough to ride. And you can see how the ruts developed. That's a typical, that was a typical Saturday, Sunday race day. And Steel City Raceway up in Export, PA, used to be Steel City. They closed it down now. It used to get the same way. It was a different style track, but it would, just rut like crazy. All the faces would be 2 foot deep when you're going off the jumps, and it's always been like that. High Point's always been like that. Many of the races that I've raced, all these other PA tracks, they're all like that. So, yeah, it makes for rough racing up north.
Well, you can see that they tried. I mean, if you really paid attention, you can see how much material they pushed off on the side of the tracks.
Yeah.
There was a lot of material gone, but I mean, heck, they had great racing on Saturday. I mean, the 250 class was awesome, and I'm going to say, I know that the 450 class has kind of been deemed weaker, but man, the racing is good. Yeah. It's good, and I think we've all just, this is what we're looking for. Because with the World Supercross Series going on and things, I think this may be what we get to look forward to, but I think true motocross fans don't care.
Yeah.
I don't think they care.
It's fun to just watch it regardless.
The crowd was big.
Yeah.
It was a big
crowd. It typically is there. It's an exciting day at High Point all the time. Like I said, you're bound to get wet at some point during the day. That's how I got sun poisoning. We were there when one year the sun was beating down, and then you just get so hot. We got so hot, and then it poured rain. So we took our shirts off because we were dripping, soaking wet, and then the sun come back out, just beating down. Ended up boiling my skin. It's insane, but it's like that every year. Like you almost expect it from High Point or any of the northern tracks like that. So.
No, it's a cool track, and I mean, it's really cool because we're kind of going through. I think I like Hangtown. I don't really like Paula, but you get to Colorado, you get to High Point, you go to Redbud, you start getting into some of these traditional motocross venues that we're going to go to.
Yep.
And you just know what to expect. And High Point delivered. It was a great race. On the 250 side, the Florida boy, I think Jason Thomas said it best. Like, man, you do know you don't have to crash in order to make these races exciting.
Yeah.
Like, and I just, man, the racing is the 250 class. There's a lot to bring to the table right now.
That's fun. I love watching the 250s. Like the 450s aren't as exciting right now, but this race kind of was.
Yeah.
It was a little more exciting than it has been. But yeah, the 250s are where the racing is at.
Yeah.
It's enjoyable. Hampshire needs to keep it up. He's starting to look like Sexton out there on the Supercross, and I don't know if he's just getting in his own head or what, but I mean, he comes back and he gets it done. So I guess we can't really complain.
No, and I mean, and can't fault Deegan. Whatever you feel for the kid's a good rider, and the fact that Hampshire came in, and it was funny because like it looked like Deegan there in the last corner, or in that is that an off-camber corner? I can't figure out that corner. That corner that Hampshire passed Deegan. That corner over the years, I feel like riders struggle going through that corner. I know the ruts are deep, but they're coming down the hill, but then they're going back, and I can't quite figure out. It doesn't look that off-camber. But
it's been years since I've been there, and I know they've changed it around some.
Yeah.
They've took some stuff out, and so I truthfully don't know. Look, I try to picture it from being there, but I can't visualize it anymore. A lot of it looks different.
Over the years, that corner just seems to cause riders so many problems. And it's funny because it looked like Deegan, in a rut, got high-centered.
Yeah.
Like he spun the wheels, and all of a sudden Hampshire was gone, and that was it. But the racing all throughout, top 10 in the 250 class Moto 1 was just good. Like there's just a lot of good racing going on. There's guys making names, and I'm not talking like, because the 250 class is not decimated like the 450 class.
Yeah.
But man, but it was sloppy. Oh my goodness, it was sloppy. And then we get the 450 Moto 2. Unless you got anything else for Moto 1 on 250s.
No, not really.
And we have Carnage. We got Carnage. Luckily, I saw a tweet, because that was the talk the first two, is they were grooming in front of the start gate. Now they're using the metal grates now, and they've had these massive crashes. But they did not groom in front of the gates, so the ruts out of the grates were still there.
Yeah.
And we kind of noticed everybody kind of made it through.
Pretty much.
There was a little bit of
Well, you're gonna have when you got 40 riders coming off the gate. There's gonna be something
but
that happens.
It was a much smoother start.
Yeah.
And then welcome Ken Roxon.
He put on a good ride. I expected him to.
Yeah.
And I feel bad about the kickstart, not getting it running when he went down.
Oh
but
man.
I expected him to come out and do what he does. He's good in the mud regardless. He's good in those conditions. I mean, he's good at riding, period. So, but in those conditions, he always excels.
Yeah.
And for my fantasy, I almost picked him to win, because I'm like, I think he's going to come out here and be a contender. But when I picked, I didn't realize we were racing, so I didn't realize that it was muddy there. And I didn't get to watch qualifying. Like I said, we had a busy day, and we'll get into that. But had it been muddy, I might have picked him over Jet. But had I seen that it was muddy.
He looked good, and I really appreciate it. We had Ricky Carmichael this week instead of Bubba. I think Ricky's been doing this longer than Bubba, but I think Ricky has taken some notes from Bubba and is James, and being a little more, not critical, but really diving into the analysis because when Ken fell, we're watching. My wife and I, who are amateurs of this stuff, we're watching, and I'm like, he fell because he was trying to get out to pass
Yeah.
the guy. Well, and then Ricky says he leaned the bike over the bike, but then he said he was trying to get out of the line to pass the lapper, and because Ricky was really talking about the G outs and
Yeah, most almost every moto. That's
Yeah.
like all we talked about.
yeah, and I will tell you, I'm glad that Ricky is like, hey, this stuff happened. Instead of just kind of glossing it over, he's taking that in because I'm still wondering what our 2024 Supercross announcing crew looks like.
Yeah.
Since Daniel Blair's not going to do it. But I got a question for you. Jet, that was a big crash.
Yeah.
That was a big crash. By the way, I understand magnets, the helmet, the visor won't stay on. Motocross racers aren't meant to ride without visors. It looks goofy.
It does. And riding in that without a visor would be
Ooh.
terrible because
Yes.
Moto 2, he lost it
Early.
the first couple of laps.
And he didn't fall.
And it was all roost.
So I have a question for you. None of these guys, knowing that the track conditions were what they were, none of the guys in the top 10 had roll-offs. They all had tear-offs. Did they just feel there was enough space that they could put enough of the laminate tear-offs on? Because I know they can pack 21, 28 of those laminates on. Did they think that was enough? Because I feel like in those conditions, as the off-road guy, I would have been running roll-offs.
Riding from the north, I've never used roll-offs.
Really?
I used them I've used them. I used them for like 2 races, and that was it. I couldn't stand it. I don't know if it's the northern dirt. I've never done it down here, but every time I always got something in behind the roll-off, one way or another, and it would just smear it. And I swore to never use them again, just for that reason. I don't know if it was just faulty or what, but I've never had luck with them. I've always been a tear-off guy. Maybe they have the same concept. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, they've done these tracks a gazillion times. So.
I mean, they know. They know better than me. But it's what suits you, I guess.
Yeah. Because you've seen some of the guys, like a lot of the guys that were running tear-offs, we've seen them run roll-offs in the straight-up mud races. But I was just curious because, as an off-road guy, I'm like, dude, with as close as they were, and as they're they were catching lappers early in that race. So, and as bad as the roost hurt, apparently the roost is so big that it knocked off Jet's visor, and B, the drone was 40 feet in the air and it hit the drone.
Yeah.
So the roost is prevalent.
I've broke fingers, broke hands. I broke my left hand with a roost.
Really?
And on northern tracks, yeah. I had a rock split through my goggles one year, split me right through the center of the eyes.
But great run by Roxon. It was sad that his bike wouldn't start. Jet, I feel like Jet just kind of methodically. I'm still not sure that he's not riding 65%.
I think he rode more than we've seen him ride yet. You could tell there was a couple of times that he was on it.
Yeah.
It didn't matter what those ruts were. He was pinning it. And we haven't seen that yet. But I think with the going down and having rocks in there, I think it did push him a little bit, but he's still not even at 90.
And then today, or yesterday, 2 days ago, that was the first day. We're 4 rounds in. That was the first day we saw some separation from the factory riders to the privateer guys chasing.
Yeah.
That was the first 3 rounds, which is weird because Colorado was not that different from High Point in track scope.
Yeah.
But to that Saturday, I felt like, oh, we got a lot of, we actually got some separation there.
Yeah.
And we're going to touch on those privateers because, man, they're having a year. But anything else on Moto 1 for 450s?
I don't think. I don't remember this week. I don't remember it by the motos as much as I do just the whole highlight. Because I didn't dig real deep into it. But
I'm not gonna lie. We watched Moto 1 and Moto 1 Saturday night. I don't really enjoy Peacock's thing that they kind of have it like once it plays live, you got to wait a few hours. I wanted to watch all of it Saturday night, but nonetheless, I'm so excited that I can watch it all on one channel.
Yeah.
I'm not going to complain, but so we watched Moto 1 of 250, Moto 1 of 450, and excuse me if I'm rubbing my eyes. I've been mowing grass at our barn all day, and I literally have like black gunk coming out. But and then Sunday we watched Moto 2 of each one. So as we jump to Moto 2, track is obviously better.
Yeah.
And by God, Hunter Lawrence shows up again.
I don't know what's going on with his starts. The kid is so fast, and he showed so much improvement over these last few years. He just cannot figure out the beginning of the race.
Before we go any further, I would like to thank Brianna Schaefer at this time for drying clothes.
You smell that again?
Oh, man, it smells so good. We are sitting at the dryer exit of the, what do they call it, exhaust, dryer exhaust. And I don't know what they use for their wash and dry scenario, but the Schaefer household has the most wonderful fragrances that they use. So if you're ever over here, instead of those incense things that they have in the house, just have Brianna
turn on the dryer,
dry some clothes. It's wonderful. But yeah, I don't understand Hunter. Like he has literally the same game plan so far, 4 rounds in, and okay, I'm gonna make third or second in the first moto, and then for second moto, I'm just gonna come out and I'm gonna control things.
Yeah, I know he did get docked points. I didn't see where he jumped on a flag.
I don't know, but I guess
it happened.
I guess he retained the win. He's just gonna lose the points.
Yeah,
but he's still
ahead.
So far ahead.
But yeah, but he has done this every single race so far. But it's always, I don't know if he's riding better under pressure because he's coming through the pack every time
with no problem. Like he's just methodical.
Yeah, I don't know. His
5 minutes left.
His starts aren't looking good, and he just blazes right through the pack every single time.
And I think he's good. But like Joe Shimoda, Deegan, Kitchen. By the way, Kitchen, is he just waiting to go to PC? Because like he's just kind of like at one point I look at it in the moto, he's 20th. Like he ended up finishing higher, but he's 20th. Deegan had another great day. Shimoda. People say he can't ride in the mud. He did okay yesterday.
He did all right.
He was on the box.
He looked like he was riding pretty well.
And by the way, just as a side note, for those of you that are a Japanese motocross fan, Shimoda has been growing out a mullet to have it prepared for Red Bud 2 weeks from now.
I did not even know that.
His hair, if you notice, the back of his hair is a little longer.
Oh, yeah.
Because last year he had USA on his belly.
Yeah.
So he wants to have a mullet for Red Bud. And on his podium interview, he even said, Red Bud, and like preparing for. Yeah. So, good Lord, I hope that he has a good week in Red Bud because he is excited.
That's going to gain 100 horsepower right there.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah. But the 250s, they're really having some good racing. There is some great racing going on in the 250s. I don't have the results in front of me, but I think with Hunter, Deegan, Shimoda, there is some good racing going on.
Yeah, I got them all right here. With Tom Vial. Pulls a second in the second moto.
Does he look like he's 12 on the podium?
Yeah.
At least he's not the normal French guy that drags out his interviews forever.
He was pretty
efficient with his interview time. So
Dylan Ferrandis just likes to.
I think he learned that from Marv, though.
Probably, because they just hammer. We don't need to hear about the birth of your child and your great grandmother's past medical history, and they do. They go on forever. I don't know if it's just a thing or what, but the 250s are probably, I would say, is my favorite racing right now.
And they just don't care. They're just hammer on. It is
that send it attitude.
Yeah,
full send.
But let's jump to the 452nd moto. And before we get started, we're going to touch on Aiden Shive.
Yeah.
I think he won the LCQ. He didn't get points, but dude, he was running good.
Yeah.
I don't know if the kid needs to be on a 450 because he looks like he's the size of a toothpick.
He finished a 33 and a 23.
Yeah.
And that's pretty good. And I know Scott Meshy, shout out to HBI, he was I think I have it over here, a 31 and a 25. So they were both riding really, really well.
Yeah.
Well,
And I hate to say this. I hate to say this. I've followed Meshy for many years, and I've listened to him when he was in a van with his mom going to races. I kind of expect more. Like at this point, with the field the way it is, I just expect more from him.
I don't know if it maybe nerves for him.
I know he's recovering from the injury.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. And
but
we lost Munoz this week.
He'll be back for Redbud.
Yeah, he's coming. I'm anxious to see what happens. As we always say, the HBI team's got a good thing going,
Yeah.
and I hope to see the best for them.
And by the way, they got a camp starting tomorrow.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Where's it located?
MOTO Bros.
MOTO Bros. So.
Okeechobee.
So they've got the HBI camp.
Yeah, as of last week, I talked to Matt, and they had like 85 riders signed
awesome.
up.
That's cool.
I was extremely happy to hear it.
And this is a group that's a private team. They're helping guys out. They're feeding the paddock. By the way, I told Michelle, I said, we should just go to a race, get there early on Friday, and go have dinner. Like, we get Olive Garden.
Get Olive Garden.
Yeah, and they're doing that every week at the races. And yes, we don't know why people do what they do, but dadgummit, man, that's good. That's good. And then they're running this camp this week on the week off, and Munoz will be back, and they're supporting 4 riders in the outdoors, which if you are a outdoor off-road guy, man, you know the outdoors just beat your equipment up to no end.
Yeah.
I mean, look at this weekend.
That and then traveling back and forth to the coasts, and it's a long, tiring season. And
so congratulations. Thank you, Matt Bell. Thank you, HBI. Thank you to everybody, 109 Moto, for doing what they're doing for these guys and letting them chase the dream. Like I told told Michelle multiple times, if someone had ever told me, hey, man, you may not succeed, but I'm going to let you chase your dream. TPJ does the same thing.
Yep.
We're going to let you chase your dream for a nominal cost, and we're going to get you there. We're going to help you out. We're going to support you. Go for it. And why not? If you're these kids, why not? Like, go for it.
Yeah.
But Moto 2, track look, honestly, the track look for, I felt like there was a long break between Moto 2 for 250s and Moto 2 for 450s, and the track looked a lot different. But how about the start? They're all looking at the guys in the middle, and all of a sudden Ken Roczen just turns left and gets a hole shot by 20 feet. And I was like, holy moly. That was just, that's just racecraft.
He was riding. I mean, had he not went down in Moto 1,
yeah,
I don't know that he'd have won because Jet was on it,
yeah.
but I think the outcome...
And Jet's just that good. I think Jet appreciates... They mentioned that's the first time Jet's ever raced Roczen.
Yeah.
And there were high fives and everything. I think that gave Jet the chance to see, like, oh, this is what a top level guy
what it's going to be like.
Yeah.
But I still don't. I mean, he's going to have competition. Come Supercross, things are going to be a lot different.
Yeah.
But he's still going to be.
Yeah.
He's going to be there. So.
But Sakamoto was good. Ken's leading. Again, we have Knobhead. I mean, Cue Ball loses his visor. I feel like, as an Alpine Stars guy, I feel like they're going to be like, hey, can we fix this? I don't. Are they Alpine or Bell? Or I think he's all Alpine, isn't he?
I believe so. Yeah.
Don't you think they're going to be like?
Then they're all custom painted Red Bull.
Hey guys. I understand you want me to be safe. I can't lose my visor in the
You
race.
need the visor. In Moto 1 when he took that hit, that's understandable. You know, I run Fox helmets and or magnetic visors as well, and it takes a digger for mine to come off.
I just switched to Leatt. I don't have magnets, but instead of screw-ons, I have clips.
Yeah.
So Michelle's already said, she's like, Oh, we just switched to Leah. I guess I'll go ahead and order new visors because you're going to get hung on a tree and there it goes.
Yeah.
It's gone. So we've already decided it's fine. But we're not meant to run, especially with me. I need the visor. We run off road. So, and like he ran that whole race, literally the whole race with no visor, the
Yeah.
second moto. And then once he got out the lead, yes, Roxon kept him honest, but
He didn't need the visor at that point. But
no.
these other guys, you're duck and roost all the time.
Yeah.
It's that visor's the only thing that stops it. So, there maybe there was a design flaw in his helmet specifically.
Yeah.
So no, you didn't see anybody else that were blowing visors off.
How about Ferrandis had a good weekend finally?
Yeah.
Kind of a solid. I mean, he's had good weekends, but the bike watching, I don't know much about bikes, but he looked like he was fighting a lot. And even Ricky said it looks like his front
That
end
bike is sagging like
a lot.
And the first race they were talking about that, and I noticed it before they were talking about it, and I'm like, did they even set that rear shock up? Because it looks like a chopper.
Yeah, he looks like he's riding like this.
I don't know how you ride like
He's got that what we have these yahoos that ride around Polk County with their Carolina creepers and their pickup
Yeah.
trucks. That's what he looks like
Southern
on his
swag.
bike. Yeah,
that. Southern squat, whatever I call it.
Yeah,
It's ridiculous, but
illegal and dangerous.
it just looks ridiculous. But that bike, I don't know how that can be comfortable. Like, I don't know how you can even mesh with your bike when you're. I don't know.
And AP,
I'm not pro, but
AP likes a little sag in his, but I don't even think he wanted what Ferrandis looked like he had. Ferrandis, like when he would accelerate, the bike wouldn't even drop because it was already there.
yeah,
And there was no, the bike was already.
there's no give. I don't know. It's a crazy setup to me, but
Congratulations
working.
to Cianciarillo. A 4-4 for third. Had he been Nicoletti with a 4-4, he would have finished sixth.
yeah,
But Nicoletti got points. Excuse me. Welcome back to Nicoletti. That's great. I'm glad he's back. You know, apparently he's really been helping the muck off Yamaha team. How about Marchbanks? Marchbanks stopped us in the pits and finishes eighth.
yeah. He was on it. I was impressed. We're seeing a lot of these guys come up through that are. I don't want to say they're coming out of nowhere, but they are in a way, in their own way. I want to say. I mean, even Ty Masterpool, he's got his. I think he got that confidence boost. Now he's ready to rip.
He's the next guy. Like, I know he's not factory, but he is the next guy. Grant Harlan. I'm going to say this, Marchbanks. I'm going to look at you. You're Marchbanks. What do you say to FXR Club at the end of the season? My thought is, don't ever put me on a 250 ever again. What do you say to them?
To me, I'm just going to be thanking them as much as I can because any opportunity for these guys, I mean, they're almost helping excel his riding. It's an opportunity that had he been a privateer out of a van, things might not look as good as they are right now.
Yeah.
So just appreciating every single opportunity that they're giving him. And
oh, for sure. I mean, I know he appreciates it, but like, please. I know that we're like we're like a satellite team. Please don't ever put me on the 250 ever again.
I agree.
I actually can ride this 450, and I don't know what's going to happen because I feel like they're going to lose Enzo Lopes this year to a different team. But I know they need those riders in the 250. But daggone, man, he's proving he can ride this 450.
That could be what part of this riding is. I mean, obviously it's a big power difference, but he might just want to finally show himself and stick to that 450. I mean, they're going to need Supercross riders.
Yeah.
So if he can prove his worth, then.
But it's good. It was a great, honestly, for a race that there wasn't that much excitement, but the track gave us something, and I was so excited to see a good crowd. The weather was nice, and it was good racing. So I'm excited. We got a week off, so we're 4 deep. And then, of course, where do you go? We're going to Redbud. I told Michelle, I said, there's a race that I will never go to. I will never go to Redbud. As much as I want to go to that track because I could not walk around all weekend and listen. It's like going to a Rays game and hearing the cowbells all the time. I would
Yeah.
freaking lose my mind.
I personally have never been to Redbud, surprisingly. We were going to go to MX of Nations last year. I don't. That's right around the time we got married, so
Yeah.
it didn't happen.
I mean,
But
that was probably good on your part.
well, sometimes there's something's got to give. But no, we decided not to go. Actually, no, it was on Lake's birthday.
Okay.
That's why I didn't go, because I knew it was after the wedding, and we were planning. I was planning it with a buddy up north, and I'm just like, I'm not gonna miss his birthday. That's not right,
Yeah.
and we can't take them all.
I mean, you do run somewhat of a nudist colony around here, so
I know it.
I don't
But
know what we're gonna do for his birthday this year.
We'll figure it out. But I'm glad we didn't go last year because I'm not a fan of the rain by any means.
No, but I mean, at track they've actually made some changes, which is one of those things that High Point. I've seen High Point now 4 years in a row, and High Point looks the same. And I'm like, I understand there's some historic stuff. You come out of the rollers, and why can't we change something? Like, I understand that it's a historic track, but change something.
I never understood that about motocross. There's a lot of stuff, like things hardly ever get changed.
Yeah.
Somebody might know the answer, but I don't.
But Redbud has this year.
Yeah, they move some stuff around, but
Yeah.
still a lot of it's just ever so slightly.
Yeah.
It's nothing crazy like big changes. I think they should be changed. Keep the big stuff that is
The historic stuff,
yes.
the rollers over the tunnel jump.
Change everything else.
Yeah, and
you
change
know?
everything else because guess what? It's okay. Like, it's okay. We're still going to love the track because you still have the hills.
Yeah.
And you can all they did
And you got more than enough room to do whatever you want.
all they did at Redbud was reroute things.
Yeah.
Instead of hitting the big triple and going to the finish line, now you hit the big triple and you turn around and go through the rollers that you used to hit before going to the big. Well, that's going to change a lot.
Yeah.
That's a whole different complexion. And all they did was, instead of making a soft left, they made a hard left. And it's okay. It's okay. Like, and if it doesn't work, the coolest thing is, next year, you get a bulldozer and you change it.
Yeah.
And they have all of them host races. You can try all this stuff before you put the pros on it.
Yeah, there's races,
Yeah.
except for a few of the tracks.
Unadilla is the only one they don't
Yeah.
race. Unadilla is the only pro track they don't really race on.
So I don't know. It's always been a question of mine.
Yeah.
I don't. Besides, like I don't want to say the marketing, but like the advertising, all the banners and all that
Yeah.
stuff. There, it's already pre-measured, so they know what they need every year. But I guess if you change it up, they'd have to change all that around. Maybe they're getting paid to not change them. I don't know.
I just wish like this is the chance because there is Supercross, and there is a big talk, Supercross versus motocross. Well, motocross has the better chance of changing each track than Supercross does because the stadium, you're in a stadium, you're bound.
You can only do so much.
You can only do so much. The tracks.
Yeah.
I mean, I think they were talking about. I was listening to the Denver podcast, and Denver was like 2013 Houston or something like that. And
Yeah.
it was like, oh, I didn't realize that's what the track layout. And it's not that they mean to. It's that these guys are creating the tracks, and they're like, oh, this would be cool. Let's try this. And so, but nope, fabulous racing. I'm excited. We're 4 rounds in. We got a weekend off, and then it's America's birthday, and we're going to Redbud. This weekend, I'm gonna say this. This weekend was a monumental weekend for the Schaefer family because we had a moto victory and a top 3 finish. Derek, take us to it.
Everything we've been working so hard for finally showed up this weekend. We hit the rain again.
But the track didn't look bad though.
It wasn't bad. It was tacky, but it's definitely better than it's been. We got there Friday night and literally had to hold our RV door shut because every time we get there we have to level our steps out. Otherwise the front door won't shut. So I always dig down a little bit to get the steps down in the ground, then we can clear the steps. Well, I put them down and the garage was still down. I just unloaded everything and here blew in a storm like right now. So we're sitting there. She's she's yanking the door shut while our garage is flooded
Oh,
in the toy hauler. So, I'm out there in the lightning, everything else, trying to get the garage put up, and she's holding the door shut because the wind was so strong. I'm like, here we go again. It's another weekend of nothing but rain.
like I said, they only water this track every couple times a
At
year.
this point, they don't even have to water it. So we got that out of the way, and everything was great. We rode MX School. BOWYNN decided to ride MX School Saturday morning, so we started on a good note. I put him on the KTM Mini since we've been having a rough time on that.
Well, that's a good time to do it. Is during the school when
Yeah,
there's
and
no
we
consequence.
focused on this week. We really focused on sleeping and eating for him because we've been struggling with that so bad. He's just excited to be there, and he just playing with friends. You know how it goes. So
I don't have very many friends, so I don't play with
me
them
either.
very
They're all
often.
sitting here. So we focused on that and kept them in the AC and stuff just to try a few things. We actually did not ride at all the last 2 weeks. So there was no practice besides, a couple laps here on the home track, and just trying something different just to see if we could get the struggles out. So we rode MX School. He was looking great. The track was tacky. They had to pull MX School for just a little bit because the lightning started coming in close, and we got some rain again. And then, like I said, he looked great in that. And we focused on the eating, and we took a break, got in the AC, and he went out for practice on the PW, and we ended up getting water in the car, probably from all this rain. So he didn't get a good ride on the PW, and it's the first thing I thought was, here we go again. And he rode the KTM. He was doing pretty well. I wasn't sure how the night was going to go at this point because it was problem after problem again, like it's been the last few weeks. And I've been pretty stressed out about how our weeks have been going anyway, because we put so much into it, and we haven't. I don't want to say we're not getting anything out of it, but there's always something that keeps coming up. We're breaking bikes and the typical moto stuff. But Moto 1 on the PW, that kid just went out, and I've never seen him ride like this. It was absolutely awesome. He was in third for a lot of the race. The first place guy went down, and BOWYNN went out and just started smoking him. And the guy who was in first place came back, or I want to say the kid, caught back up to him at one point, and I think he went back down. But when it came to, I think once BOWYNN seen that front tire again, that was it. Something switched in him because his whole night changed from there. He went out and just rode his living heart out. And so we came out with a Moto 1 victory. I was absolutely ecstatic.
Did he know he had won?
No. And that was even better because we come off the track, and I'm yelling down on the track because I'm down on the track, and I run over and I meet him, and he always sits there and waits for me to take him off the bike. Well, pick the bike up and put it on the stand so he won't get off of it till I get over there. And I'm like, buddy, you won. What? I'm like, buddy, you just freaking won. And that smile, he went off, and then he got off jumping, and he went over, yelled at his friends before he even took his helmet off, and everybody was excited for him. And I tried to get him to do his podium interview, but he wanted nothing to do with that. I'm like, let's go do your interview. I'll do it with you. No, I'm not doing it. I don't want to do it. Okay. You win the next one, no, you're doing it. So it was really, really exciting, that part of it. The KTM, he had quite a few falls in Moto 1. He was riding it pretty well, though, for how he's looked recently. I think in between the motos, I guess I'll just finish off our night, and we get to Moto 2, and they were trying to rush everything along because there was lightning all over the place. I can't believe they were actually running it because we could just see streaks of lightning everywhere. But he got up to the gate. We dropped the gate. I think he was second out of the hole. He was faster than everybody on that track. And he was battling the first place guy the entire time. And we come around right before the finish line. There was a turn. There was a left-hander and then a right-hander. On the left-hander, I seen him making that pass. Like you could tell, I don't know if it was in his mind, if he's finally got that race mind in him. But the kid ducked in about the middle of the track, and he just was full send on the outside. And the kid came out, and they collided. They both went down, but when BOWYNN went down, he got up. He was crying pretty hard, but his bike was stuck wide open because the throttle cable had pulled onto the other bike. So I had to sit there and wiggle it for a little bit to get it to free up. And by that time, the kid was already over the finish line, and he still had a right-hander to pull and then over the finish line. So that held him up a little bit, but had it not, I think we would have come out with a full victory. But he finished second. He almost caught back up to that kid, though, which was astonishing to me. Like I said, the kid's never rode like this. So hopefully we got the PAX camp coming up, so hopefully that excels everything that he's learned. But extremely happy about the weekend. It was an awesome weekend.
So how did BOWYNN react to finishing second? Because he's had some success. He's had trophies because they give the little kids the idea of, hey, you're succeeding because you're here. Yeah, how did he feel about finishing second?
That's all he talked about. The kid, all night long, after he got that victory, there wasn't the only issue that we had, he got something in his eye when we were lining up the 50 Mini, and he didn't want to race because his eye was beat red. We couldn't find anything. We had to take his helmet off. I had to pull the 2 minutes on the gate. So we had to hold the gate for him, and all of a sudden he just snapped out of it. Because Brianna kept rubbing his eye with a hot washcloth, and finally he just snapped out of it. But other than that, like he's always whiny at the track. It just, it's exhausting. But after that, smiles all night long. That's all he talked about. That's all he talked about on the way home. So I think that confidence, even at 5 years old, I think the confidence is real. So we'll see if it carries on to the next week.
How does that affect him for points? Because I know you guys are talking about the split that they're doing at some point.
I don't know. So they split the points in half. I don't remember if it was this race or the next race. Right now I think he's still 10th, but it's going to give him a massive points boost. I don't know if he's going to catch the other kids, because what they do is they run all the Pee Wee 4 to 6. They have a Pee Wee 4 to 6 and a Pee Wee 4 to 6 beginner, but they're all in the same points bracket right now. I don't know if they split them up, because we've never been in this points hunt, so I don't know if I know they split, but I don't know if they split those riders up, and then Pee Wee 4 to 6 gets their own points bracket, and then the beginners get their own points bracket. So once the points come out, I'm going to try to figure this all out and talk with a few guys and see how it works. If they split it off, he's right up in there. So it's looking good. If we can keep that momentum up, then the championship's actually looking really well.
So do we have a race before camp, or do we go to camp?
No, we go to camp.
So is Dade City taking off, or are you just missing a race?
Dade City's off this weekend.
Okay. Is camp this week?
No, we leave next Monday.
Ah.
So we will leave Monday night or Monday afternoon. So we'll figure this out after we get done here tonight. But we'll leave Monday afternoon, and we're done Thursday night. So we either stay or drive home, and then go right up to Dade City Friday night. So it's going to be a long, tiring week. So I'm anxious to see how it goes with him, because there's 6 hours of riding a day there.
But you are going to the chocolate cake factory up there.
We are. So I think he's going to do really well. The plan is to ride the Mini the whole time.
Are you taking a bike or just your pit bike?
My bike is going.
Okay.
I don't know that I'm going to ride, because I'm not riding all 3 days. That's too much. So it's going. We're going to see what happens. But I think it's going to do him really, really well to work on some technical stuff, some technique, and just to get that seat time with somebody besides me, somebody that can actually teach him, I guess, somebody that he will listen to that will teach him. So we'll see how it goes. I'm going to focus on the eating and sleeping there as well, and I think that's really helping him a lot. And I think being away from the brothers will help a lot too.
Oh, so just you two going
just
up?
Just us two. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So just me and him are going to go up and spend the 3 days, and we'll see how it goes. But we also had the Father's Day race this weekend.
Yeah, how'd that go?
That was a blast.
Now you don't have a kid that fits the norm that fits the rules for that. So you had to steal a kid.
I fostered a kid.
Yeah, you fostered a kid. How do you foster a kid for this?
So Kevin Mead, our buddy that was on here, I was in the toy hauler, and he come in. And I found a 65. You better go find one. So he fostered a kid as well. We've been battling the whole week prior to this who was going to win this race. And Kevin, I know you're going to listen to this, and you're going to give me crap about it, and we'll keep this battle going on as long as it needs to. But
you got the pumpkin race coming up, and
we'll figure the pumpkin race out later. So I fostered a kid. Actually, his dad, his eye was pretty banged up, and he couldn't ride with him. And the kid, Kevin's the one that went up and found him. I know a few people there, but I don't know a lot of the younger riders that aren't in our class. So Kevin found him after he found a kid on a 65, and the dad's like, "Do you want to ride?" He's like, "Yeah, I really, really want to ride this." His name's Bentley, and I'm like, "I'll ride it with him." And he's like, "I'd love to ride it, but I can't." He's like, "With my eye." I'm like, "Don't worry about it. I'll ride with him. Come down. Come down and hang out with us the whole time." And the lightning was all through the sky, and Kevin and I are battling back and forth, and who's gonna win? So they gave us, so we're on a 65, grown men on a 65, which I'm going to tell you right now, they don't have any power whatsoever. I figured that out. I remember riding 65s when I was younger, and these things they're animals. I get on it now, and I'm like, dude, you got to lose some weight or something, because this ain't how they used to ride.
Yeah.
So we got a sight lap, and Kevin and I went out first, and Kevin was jumping stuff in front of me, and I jumped this kid's bike, and it bottomed out the first thing. I'm like, God, don't break his bike. So I kind of calmed down a little bit. I stayed on it. And we did a full gate drop, which was awesome.
So
on a 65.
Were you racing like the dads did a lap and the kids did a lap?
So what happened was the dads got a sight lap. So we got to go out. We did a sight lap, and then we all lined up. We let the kids pick a gate for us. And then we all lined up. And we did a lap, and then they set cones up, and we had to come in, and then the kids jumped on and hurry up and did a lap. So I got a terrible start. So did Kevin. He dropped the gate, and Kevin, I think he was trying to start in third gear, even though I told him right at the beginning, I'm like, we can't start these things in third gear. They're not going to move. Well, I think he doubted me, so I heard his go, wow! And I couldn't get the best start. I could not get that rear wheel to do anything. And I was afraid if I slid back that I'm coming off the bike. So I just kind of kept myself centered.
Or you're just sitting the fender on the tire.
I leaned back a little bit, and that thing was just not moving. And I'm chugging it along, And I picked up a gear because I started in first. I knew that this thing just did not have the power. So I started in first, and I took off, and it just was not going anywhere. Because I shifted to second right away because I just wanted that initial burst of power. And that didn't work either. So I'm just sitting there. I think I came out. We got videos too. We'll see if Michelle can link them in. So we got videos of the whole shot, and then of the dads coming around the finish line. I got a terrible start, but I come around. Kevin got around me. He got his issue figured out. I got into a mess of guys. On the last turn, everything was going great. We were having a blast. Had to pull a few tear-offs, which I never thought I'd do in a dad race, but it was messy. Kevin thought he'd be a smart-ass. I'm going to say it on here, I don't care. Kevin thought he'd be a smart-ass. We come around the same turn that BOWYNN collided with the kid on. We come around there, and I eyed him up on this whole time. I'm like, Kevin, I'm getting you on this next turn. And I eyed him up, and Kevin kind of dropped to the inside, and I went around the outside of this turn, and he decided he's going to wave at me. Because he thought he had me beat, and I'm like, you idiot! That's right where I had you planned. And I snuck up the inside of him and took him out. And I beat him on the finish line. Yes, Kevin, I beat you. I took a third in the dad part. Kevin took a fourth. So we hurry up. We switch our kid. I almost fell getting off the bike, and then
wait, you can just stand up.
I know, but I kept the clutch in for him because the goal was. Hold the clutch, let him jump on, and let him dump it and go.
Was he in third gear?
No, you can see in the video I shift down the whole time I'm coming in, so I kind of coasted in. And I get off. For some reason, my moron self got off on the clutch side. And I had to put him on around me. So he got off and he took off, and Kevin's kid took off a little bit quicker, and so he finished. They finished third, and then we finished fourth. So we switched spots, but it was so fun. Um, I'm hoping for the pumpkin race we can do it again because those little races are just a blast.
Oh, they are, and I think it's cool that they do those. They do the Mother's Day, they do the Father's Day, they do the pumpkin race. I think it's cool that they do that because, like you say, you've said it multiple times. That season, you're just learning this, but even at the local level, it's a grind.
Yeah.
I mean, think about the I-4, the Florida MX Series, the Pro Nationals, the regionals, all these, but even the local series. It's nice to have that kind of mix up. Like this weekend at High Point, 4th National. You know what we're going to do? We're going to do a closest to the pin because they keep calling it the High Point Country Club.
Yeah.
And this weekend, they couldn't ride on Friday. So there were mechanics and fans and people trying to go closest to the pin. It was like a 100-yard shot. That kind of breaks the monotony.
Yeah.
And like you got a big old smile on your face. You're hanging out with friends.
So fun.
You don't have your own kid that fits that realm.
Yeah, but they were so excited that I was doing that, even though it wasn't with them.
Yeah.
In the videos, you can hear them yelling, and when I come off, they're high fiving and they're smiling and laughing,
and those are those moments that you can share. Like, if there's a pit bike race, go do it. Do this stuff with your kids, even if you suck. I mean, there are times in these races. Moms or dads don't ride. Adam Cianciarulo's parents never rode a motorcycle. Yeah. Go do this stuff with your kids. Big James, can you imagine Big James trying to do a Father's Day? That's a big man.
Yeah, but even the dads that were coming off like last, the kids are still it's so memorable to them.
Yeah,
but all of us at the end of it, it's just.
You're high-fiving.
Oh, it was so exciting. I will tell you, 2 laps on a 65, and we were all sweating, wanted to die. It was ridiculous.
So what was the total? Did you do 2 laps?
So we did our sight lap.
Okay.
And then we did
one
full lap.
Race.
But,
okay.
Kevin and I took both laps to the nuts. Yeah. So it's just how you had to do it. Yeah. I was so worried about blowing that bike up because I could smell the clutch. I'm like, oh, please don't ruin this kid's bike. He's got another moto to go. And when I come off, that thing was rolling smoke.
Well, if you go to the Randy Yoho School of Motocross, you will learn how to not use the clutch and use the momentum
on
of the bike.
On a 65, it's hard to use any of it.
I understand.
I know.
And you're in management now. You have to maintain equipment, not destroy equipment. So
I told that dad, I'm like, listen, I'm gonna try not to wreck this bike. He's like, don't worry about it. Go out there and tear it up. I'm like, I'm not tearing this bike up, but I come off and that thing was overheating and everything else, so I tore that bike up. But now that kid Bentley was so excited. He had such a good time. We all had a good time.
Awesome.
It was a blast. Like I said, we wanted to die at the end of it. Us old guys just
but that's
took it
great,
to the extreme, but it was fun.
That's awesome. It's cool that you're in the middle of this. Your kids are in the middle of this point battle. Parents are also in the middle of this points battle. Although it's not for the parents, it's still for the parents. And the fact that they have this fun.
It was definitely for the dads on that one. But
for sure.
Yeah, Randy gave us all a pep talk. Randy Yoho come up to the gate and he's like, you guys realize that this is foolish, right? Like, you guys are all foolish. We know.
Yeah.
Don't go out there and kill each other.
Yeah.
We got it.
We don't need an ambulance ride for dads,
We didn't listen. We didn't listen.
Well, anything else for pro or amateur at this point? I guess we'll touch on, we appreciate Matt Bell and HBI, what they're doing. You had reached out to them. We're going to try to start getting some of their reports from races.
Yeah, so we're going to, we expect nothing from them. And I told Matt this. Everybody around here follows the HBI team. They are in with everybody. I mean, everybody knows HPI. They're a local pro amateur team. I know Matt Bell. We've sat down and talked just a couple times, briefly, and I did reach out to him and see if we could start covering everything that they do. Just because I'm so intrigued by what they do and what he's built, and just giving all these guys opportunities, all these kids, girls, all of the above, the opportunity to ride and give them their shot. That I feel like that's something that we should cover. Even like I said, not any benefit to us whatsoever. I really appreciate what he's doing. So I'll kind of want to help them as much as we can as well.
Do you think they want to have a enduro guy for next year for like the national
Maybe
enduros?
I'll have to ask them.
We'll see what happens. But
See what
no,
happens. But yeah, we're gonna start covering them. And
I'm completely joking, but no, we do want to start covering them. So we're gonna have our week off. Everybody's kind of got a week off on the pro side. I need to apologize because I'm old, and I thought that I'm a pretty good logistics manager, but apparently I can't read a calendar. I was all excited because I was going to Lazy Springs MX last weekend to cover the I4 MX series, and I'm covering it, and I had talked to Derac about it and what he wanted me to cover, what he wanted me to look at, and
I didn't even look at the schedule.
my wife was going down with me. We were going to take the top off the Jeep. We were going to cruise down early Sunday morning. We were going to watch. I had talked to Lindsay C about her. Like she's like, the racing doesn't start till 10 o'clock. You're good to go. It's all, you don't have to rush down. I'm like, this is outstanding. Or, as some would say, I think it was Alex Martin, outstandable. So we were all excited. Well, lo and behold, I started looking at the calendar. Florida Series had announced that that they had a track since Mesa closed down. They had switched to Pax track, and then Lazy Springs was talking about how the last practice before the I4MX series. And I'm like, well, that's weird. So I follow all these tracks, and I told my wife, I'm like, we had changed some of our business things around so that we could go do this. I'm like, we're not going this weekend. She's like, what do you mean? I said, well, I don't know how to read a calendar. Well, then but I'm going to say I took the blame for this. This is my fault. But then I reached out to Derac, and he's like, well, you can go here. And then he's like, oh, wait, that's for July. So neither one of us can obviously read a calendar. So this weekend,
I did say you could always come up to date.
Yep. But I already had stuff scheduled for.
Yeah.
So this weekend, I will be going to Lazy Springs to cover the I4MX series. I would love to be able to cover I4MX and Florida series, but there's only one of me, and my wife's going to go with me, and she's not going to go to she's not going to go to her own series by herself. So we're going to cover the I4MX series this weekend at Lazy Springs. I've never been there. I would say I'm really sad, but you're going to be at PAX Track soon.
Yeah,
so
Monday.
you're gonna get to see, and I expect a full report on what that track is like, because everything we see, that is the chocolate cake of Florida.
I'm hoping to put a few laps in on it so I can actually tell you what's going to happen.
So,
but yeah, well, I'd love to go too. We'll be packing, getting everything ready, and we got the PAX Tracks camp. If you're not signed up, sign up, because it's going to be an awesome camp. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week. 27th, 28th, 29th. I'm not even giving dates because obviously our calendar skills are terrible.
We suck at that.
But I'll definitely give a full report on what happens, because we're going to have a lot to cover on, not the next episode, but the following one.
You'll have camp and Dade City.
Yeah, it's going to be a busy week.
I don't know, just personally, I'm going to go cover this race. I don't know when I'm going to be back on a bike. After some analysis on my bike, it appears that I really just need to lube a lot of things up. There's not a lot of... I'm very easy on a bike. I'm a slow B rider, C, motocross-wise, but for the off-road world, I'm a B rider, and I'm on the same clutch, and I have 100 hours on my bike. So that gives you an idea of what I do to a bike. So we're going to do all of the joints that connect, that move. So we're looking at front wheel hubs, back wheel hubs, pivot points. We're going to lube all that up and be ready for September with maybe some adjustments to December. But I still can't ride. I am exercising now, which is cool. But my wife has decided that since I race off-road and I need to be in good shape in the middle of the day, we both have real jobs. But we've been doing all of our training in the middle of the day. The other day we went for a run. It was 107 degrees.
Yeah, it was hot.
Yeah, it was hot. But Michelle's like, hey, she's getting me out of my uncomfort zone, because, as I said, someone said, why are you exercising? Well, I'm going to be uncomfortable if I'm sitting on the couch or if I'm exercising. So I might as well exercise. And the trainers and rehab people have told me this is what you can't. You can run. I can't do any upper body exercises now, but I can still run. So I've been doing a lot of running. But 107, I don't care who you are. That's hot. So I can't wait to get back on the bike because
Yeah.
this running is,
I ain't doing it.
oh man, it's getting kind of old. But God bless her. My wife keeps me going, and so we've got some cool announcements. We'll announce what 2024 looks like. We're only in June, so the new schedule won't be out until November. But we're gonna cover that extensively as well once that goes. But so next week it's gonna be kind of light because I'll have the i4MX. You'll have been packing to head to PAX Track. We won't have any pros, but we're still going to do something, and maybe we'll just talk about racing. Just racing.
Yeah. We'll have the
joy.
pros. That's
Yeah.
really going to be about it. And
Yeah, so we won't have any pros. But
the pros are off.
yeah, so the following week we're going to have a packed because we'll
Yeah,
have camp, we'll have Dade City, we'll have Redbud. But next week we will be able to cover full on i4MX. So I'm hoping, Matt Bell, if you hear this, Derek, if you hear this, let's try to get a report of how the HBI riders do next weekend at the i4 and the Florida MX Series, and we can talk about them.
We'll get something.
And maybe we'll only have a 35-minute episode, but we'll do something because we've been consistent. And at some point we may have to do a solo episode, but at this point, we'll see what happens. So we may have to. I don't know how we Zoom or whatever, but we'll figure out something next week. And I don't know. You got anything else?
No, it was an exciting weekend. It was fun.
Yeah.
This was fun. Like I said, next week's gonna be pretty quiet, but we got a lot in the works over the next few weeks, so it'll be exciting.
Well, happy Father's Day to you. Happy Father's Day to all the fathers, and happy Father's Day to all the fathers who have stepped up to be fathers for kids that aren't theirs.
Yeah.
And also, I know it's always one of those testy things, but there's a lot of parents. I think of Trey Kennard, who lost his father, and his mother stepped up in that role. So thanks to those moms who also stepped up to double role. And we appreciate that. But the mentors, whether you're a mentor, a dad, stepdad, or a mom, thank you and happy Father's Day. And the next thing we're going to celebrate is July 4th.
Yep.
We got July 4th coming up, and America's birthday, and we know it's going to be on the July 4th weekend. I think we'll probably be the third because I think Redbud is on the first. I think it's calendar.
No, second.
Second.
Yeah.
So our podcast will be on the 4th.
Yeah.
My God, we should have sparklers out here or something.
Yeah, we can do that.
We'll do
figure it
something.
out.
But our next celebration will be July 4th. And other than that, Derek, you want to wrap us up today?
Thank everybody for listening. Shout out to HBI again. Like I said, we appreciate everything you're doing. Can't wait to look forward to covering everything that they're doing. Guess we'll talk to you guys next week.
Congratulations to BOWYNN. That's Derek with DBS. I'm Trey with Michelle and Trey Real Estate. We will catch you all somehow next week.